Hello, everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Just Mets podcast. My name is Andrew Claudio. That is Rich MacLeod. Those sirens you hear are the alert that the New York Mets are just 10 days away from returning to Major League Baseball games. It may also just be the sound of the Dominican Republic or Venezuela celebrating their recent home run or regular base hit, which is awesome to watch, by the way. The energy coming out of the WBC. We, as Mets fans, you got to believe, and that's why we are part of the Believe In Podcast Network. Rich, how are you, my friend?
I am good. I do live in a very Dominican neighborhood, so it is plausible that those sirens could be related to the WBC. Or, if you're joining us on YouTube, we're live right now on Sunday. If you're listening back to this, this is a few hours before the big Team USA DR matchup. And yeah, I'm doing good. I'm excited to watch baseball that has a pulse. I hate spring training. I don't know if that's a hot take, but after the first two innings of the first game, the only thing I could give a shit about is that everybody stays healthy.
Yeah.
So watching these games, even though I'm not glued to the TV watching the WBC, like watching these teams, basically every non-USA team, put in all of this emotion and vigor and juice into it. It's super exciting. I wish our team could play like that instead of being like the most boring group of all-stars you've ever seen. But overall, the product's been really good. And where the WBC has come from, like when it first started to now, is pretty amazing because like nobody really cared about it a few WBCs ago. And now it is truly like a huge global event.
So we're now going to open the show talking about the WBC. I just want to give a bit of a rundown to everybody. We'll give some thoughts on the World Baseball Classic. As Rich mentioned, we're 3 hours away from first pitch between the U.S. and the Dominican Republic. Paul Skeens takes the mound against a loaded DR lineup full of great Dominican baseball players in Austin Wells. We're also going to talk about Lindor's return to action. He took the field today. We were going to do this live stream earlier today, and then we both woke up to some great news that Lindor is returning to the lineup and was going to be back on the field officially for his first spring training action. So we'll react to today's game. And as Rich said, I watched my second spring training game today, so I'm not glued to the TV watching practice, which it's why I'm not glued to spring training. It's practice at the end of the day.
Talking about practice.
It's like the same reason that I don't really get into summer league other than a networking opportunity when I'm out in Vegas. Like I'm here for let's see how Carson Bench and AJ Ewing does, but like we'll go through what Lindor did today, and then we'll just go through any unanswered questions that still exist. We are again 10 days away. I guess 11 days away as time of recording. When people are listening to this tomorrow, though, on Monday, we will be 10 days away from opening day. Speaking of Paul Skeens, then later in the show, we're going to go through, because the announcement was made that Carlos Beltran will get his number retired by the New York Mets later this season, which will coincide with him going into the Mets Hall of Fame, which coincides with him going into the Baseball Hall of Fame wearing a Mets jersey, a Mets cap later this season. And we will discuss whether that should happen. And then we're also going to project who the next five or what the next five numbers will be retired, when they'll happen, what year they'll happen. At least I went that far with it. We'll give you what numbers we project will be the next five numbers to be retired separately. We're not going to give you 10 numbers because who knows if they're even going to get to 10. Rich, last time we recorded it or went live, we talked about how our relationship to the World Baseball Classic, or our interest in the World Baseball Classic, has never been that strong. Obviously, like the Mets have had to deal with an injury, a World Baseball Classic, it seems like, whether it be the infamous Edwin Diaz injury or the smaller ones like JJ Putz, like David Wright, like Seth Lugo. Like you go down the line, the Mets have not always left this World Baseball Classic with their best 25 able to come back and start the season because they participated in said tournament. So as much as I entered this tournament thinking just anybody that plays for the Mets, please stay healthy and by all means have fun, boy, have I done a 180 this tournament in particular. The energy that has come out from, like we've said, all the Latin American countries, even the Japanese countries and South Korea. My brother was actually in Tokyo for a week for like a vacation, right? And he was there during the Tokyo round of the World Baseball Classic, the group that was there, and he just said like it's wall to wall, just Otani here, this and that. Like the strikeout of Mike Trout is on billboards left and right,
Wow.
everywhere in Tokyo. Like this outside of the US is insane. And look, as a proud Puerto Rican American over here, I got into Puerto Rico and the walk-off home run that they hit, the big at bats, we're coming at you live the day after the Venezuela comeback against Team Japan, dethroning the champions.
Huge upset.
Look, it's the most I've ever gotten into this tournament. And yeah, I think it's just a great stage for baseball. We're recording this 2 hours before the Oscars, 3 hours before the Knicks play. And the number one thing that I think will be on televisions in New York tonight will be US versus DR. Obviously, people might hear this after that game has already happened. But yeah, it's the most interested I've ever been in the tournament, and it's just been great theater and great entertainment, Rich.
It's the two best teams going up against each other. It's a kind of a shame it happens this early because we're at single elimination at this point. So
that's tonight. Like the whole thing I'm saying has been
that's what I'm referring to tonight's game. You almost wish that this was the final matchup. And I would say whoever comes out of tonight is going to be the heavy favorite to win the whole thing. It'd be surprising if it went either way. And I mean, I don't know about you, like the Dominican team looks unbeatable. They've mostly kicked the crap out of everybody they've played. Most of their games haven't even been particularly close. USA talent wise, like they should be able to at least compete with them. But again, I'm just like, these are not two teams that are on the same level energy wise. And I think the team probably has better players anyways. And they just seem like their give a fuck factor seems to be way higher. So I think that they're going to win tonight. And, Paul Skeens, I think, is at least like the guy you would want on the mound to try to be an equalizer there. But it's going to be interesting. And yeah, I mean, I think the DR is the heavy favorite to win this whole thing.
I want to steer away from predictions for tonight because people might listen to this after the game has already happened, but I would also lean DR. I also agree with you about the talent level on Team US, which is why from a whole tournament narrative, it helps that Team USA almost got eliminated last round. The whole Mark DeRosa playing
close.
And look, the playing the backups thing doesn't bother me as much because Gunnar Henderson and Pete Crow Armstrong have to play. Like they're both really good. Will Smith is a World Series hero. I'm okay with those guys playing. It's the you didn't know the rules issue that has added to some of the drama and some of the, like you said, not give a fuck factor that may exist with Team USA. And look, I was talking to somebody about this, my sister-in-law's boyfriend last night, who is big into, he's Hispanic. He's big into the World Cup. Like soccer is football is his, choice of sport. And he just got into the NFL this year. Good on him. He chose the Bills. He saw me watching Italy against Puerto Rico yesterday, and me, again, Puerto Rican, it was in my in-laws' house full of Italians, and I'm like rooting for PR to pull off the upset with that 8th inning comeback. And he was like, I didn't know baseball had a World Cup. And I was like, yeah, like every 3 years they play a style like this. And then we watched Venezuela against Japan. And again, you see the energy, the celebration of a game that's coming out of all these other teams. And then the US is like, here's the guy that killed Osama bin Laden, which thank you for your service, right? I appreciate your contribution to this country, but man alive, it is not war that we're going to. It's a game. And I think what you're seeing is the conflict of styles. And it also helps that Aaron Judge is the most boring superstar that we've maybe ever had. and
Yeah.
attitude reflect leadership, captain. So yeah, I would think the DR wins tonight because their lineup with Austin Wells is loaded, right? I also think Paul Skeens is really good, and this does become a Mets story, Rich, because again, time of recording, we are 3 hours from first pitch. Should US win tonight, Nolan McLean is going to pitch a championship game for Team USA against either Venezuela, who just pulled off the upset, or Italy, who inexplicably has not lost yet in this tournament.
Crazy.
They don't have an all-star on their team, Rich. I don't know if Pasquantino or
NEP, baby.
but right, but like that's their best player on paper, right? They don't have, especially you look at the DR lineup, and it's like MVP here, 5 WAR player there. Even
Loaded.
Venezuela, the team they're about to face, has Acuna leading off. And if you thought that was crazy, last night also Otani was leading off for Team Japan. So they've gotten me in, Rich. They've gotten me interested in this, not just as a Mets fan, but as a baseball fan.
Yeah, it's been fun.
Yeah, which is what we like. We like fun with our baseball. Absolutely. We like to root for fun. You know, it isn't fun spring training.
I was going to say, speaking of Puerto Ricans.
Francisco Lindor. There you go. What a segue. Unfortunately, Lindor couldn't play for Team Puerto Rico this year.
Yep.
So he played today, and he went 1 for 3, had a base hit. I got to be honest, the more encouraging swing that he took today wasn't the line drive single he had. It was the foul ball right before the single, because it went like 400 feet foul. And I was like, oh, look, the power that everybody said wasn't there. Didn't look like he had his timing back yet. Keith commented on it on the broadcast. It was just good to see him in the field. It was good to see him in the lineup. Got a little taste of what the Mets lineup could be. Marcus Semien hit a home run today. Bo Bichette had a 2-out single to right field through the hole, which was fun. Polanco had hit the ball hard. Francisco Alvarez, who's just every time I catch a highlight, seems to be hitting the ball very hard. Brett Beatty made a nice play at first base.
For Alvarez.
Like the lineup looks like it's there. It's going to be better than last year, at least longer than it was last year. You're not going to be so top heavy. Just your thoughts on Lindor in particular, your thoughts on him, I guess, not just necessarily what you saw today, but like that he made it back.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know about you, but I was not anticipating that he was that close to coming back where he was just going to be in the lineup today. That was a pretty big surprise for me this morning. So that was super encouraging. When I saw that, I was like, okay, if he doesn't have any setbacks, he's definitely going to play on opening day. I feel pretty confident in that now, knowing that we're over a week and a half until then. So yeah, I mean, just the fact that he showed up, super encouraging. Didn't re-injure his hand, like didn't get hit in the hand by a pitch or slide or anything crazy. I think he made a play or two in the field as well. Like that all seemed fine. So, the timing is going to take a while. He usually starts off the season slow anyways, historically speaking, except for honestly last year was really the only time it didn't happen. But it's just good to have him back, and that he's the heart and soul of the team. And I mean, right now, fingers crossed, knock on wood, all that stuff, like this is the healthiest the Mets have been at this point in spring training as long as I can remember. There always seems to be some sort of catastrophic, like air out of the balloon spring training injury, whether, I mean, 2023, you had not only Edwin Diaz, but like Justin Verlander got scratched. Like, I think that news came out on opening day.
Exactly.
That he was not
on opening day, it happened.
A month.
Yeah.
That 2023 season, I always say this to you, but I was like, I went into that year with no excitement at all based on what had happened the year before. But then also it was just like, I was like, there's something's not right here. The energy is bad, but like the energy, I think, feels like really good right now. And yeah, I'm just glad he's back, and it's not usually how these spring injuries go for this team. So I feel pretty happy about that.
If we can revisit what happened in 2023 after we just celebrated the WBC, there was a major injury, catastrophic injury that happened in the 2023 WBC that affected my mood for the 2023 Mets for sure. Especially as like I was planning a wedding for that summer that was going to be me walking into my reception with that Narcos with Edwin Diaz's entrance as the play-in music. So yeah, I hear you. And on the health side of things, yeah, there's no regular that is. I mean, look, the Mania thing is concerning that his velocity is down. By all accounts, he's not. It's not an injury related thing, which may be an even bigger question or more important question about what he is this year. But yeah, like the bullpen's healthy. Luke Weaver threw an inning today. Devin Williams has looked good. They have Senga. My goodness, what Kodai Senga looked like the other day. 4 perfect innings where the ghost fork was forking, you know. So yeah, it looks like we're we're gonna go into the season, knock on wood, with 10 days to go with our best 2026 ready to go. Who those 26 will be, Rich, I'm curious, but did you have anything else to add before we talk about any questions that still need to be answered in spring training?
Yeah, I mean, Sanga, the guy who I said all offseason was no chance he was going to be here, has been their best pitcher in spring. Horrible pun incoming, but he's been forking awesome.
Awesome, indeed.
Meanwhile, Sean Manaea, as you brought up, he was a guy that I was pretty confident would bounce back. And look, he still very well could. It is spring training. He's a veteran. Like sometimes that stuff doesn't always matter. But he's been very concerning through. I believe he's just made the 2 starts. He got hit around pretty hard in his most recent one. That fastball was hitting like 89, 90 a lot of the times. I don't think he topped beyond 91 in that game. That's been concerning. I know he didn't get surgery to remove the loose bodies in his elbow from last summer, which was the injury that was bothering him when he came back from the oblique. I'm not a doctor, so I don't really know why he wouldn't get that cleaned up. But I don't know if that's something that's affecting him, if his body's just like betraying him. He does have an injury history before the Mets. Obviously, what we saw in 2024 for those few months was by far the best Manaea's looked like in his career. So it is very possible that just, he's coming back down to earth. But I've been concerned about him and incredibly impressed and cautiously optimistic about what Sanga's doing.
Yeah, same.
Until he has to run more than 5 feet and then his leg explodes.
Well, look, if I'm officially turning the page from our old first baseman, Beth Beatty had a nice scoop at first base today. I wonder
solid.
I wonder if the fear of your first baseman throwing the ball wide to a pitcher running over to cover first might not derail what was on pace to be an all-star season last year for Senga. Yeah, like this, we've talked about this. As much as like last season was frustrating and the pitching fell apart, there were some like 0 percentile outcomes that happened with like how Senga's season went, how Senga's season went, how Manaea's season went, how Peterson's season ended up. The Montas thing didn't exactly amount to more than what we expected, to be honest. Like I didn't have that much confidence in him going into the season, but I forgot about Montas. Forgot Frankie Montas. Look, Paul Blackburn got like 5 starts for the Mets too. Like they went through several unproductive players last season.
Justin Hageman, who did go on the 60-day IL today. Did.
So there's our bad injury. But like last year, like Hageman, that was like our 4th starter at times last season. Like I
know.
And it's why, like, you look at what Tobias Myers. Yes, his name is Tobias. People in the comments. I know it's not Jake. I called him Jake Myers 2 weeks ago or whatever, 2 shows ago, and I like corrected myself immediately. But yes, Tobias Myers has looked good. They have depth going into the season, so hopefully it means to them getting a good start. Unanswered questions. It feels like it's just right field for me.
Yeah, I mean, I kind of think Talkman might make the team over Benj.
I do too.
And Benj has been good.
Very good.
He's not slugging. That would be like the one thing if you wanted to poke a hole in it. And again, this is a competition where Mike Talkman has an OPS over 1,000 still, which is pretty crazy. And Talkman is the one guy that you have no control over. Or does he have a minor league deal? They might have given him a minor league deal, so they could potentially start him in the season in AAA. I'd have to go look at that. But like MJ Melendez has minor league options, obviously. Benj can start the season in the minor league. So I right now I would lean towards Talkman makes the team over Benj, but they've both are hitting well over 300. They've both been quite good. I could see either happening, but I do think that one might come down to the wire. Everything else, other than maybe one or two bullpen spots, seems quite solidified. But yeah, I'm not even sure the Mets know who's won that competition yet.
Michael Talkman is a minor league contract, includes a non-roster invitation to spring training, guaranteed MLB. There's no guaranteed MLB salary. So is this, I mean, I wish I knew the details of this more, but I'm assuming if he accepts an assignment to the minors, they can send him there, or he can opt for free agency. I guess that's a mutual option. Don't quote me on this. I'm tired of people yelling at me for stuff I get wrong. It's a minor league option.
If it's a minor league deal and there's no options in it, then he doesn't really have a choice. They could do him a solid and let him go, but they don't necessarily have to.
Yeah. I think he's going to be your opening day right fielder, with the caveat that, to your point about Benj, so Carson Benj in spring training this season has, let me pull up his stats real quick. So Carson Benj in spring training has had 30 at bats, has 11 hits, like you said, a 367 average, only one extra base hit. He has a triple. I wonder if that's enough to be like, hey, you won the job out of spring training. And I guess the only worry I would have is like, if a guy hits 367 with a 400 on base in spring training, usually that is like, oh yeah, you won the job. Do you want to set that precedent that that's not good enough? I think because, to your point, the power's not there, the extra base hits aren't there. You can't say he had a bad spring training, but you have the veteran in right field in Talkman. You have that enough. That safety net that you can start the season with him in right field, send Benj to AAA, and just like, hey, let's get that launch angle up. Let's get the power number up there, and then you come up to the majors and you never go back down. I will add a comment from Carlos Mendoza too before you respond. In talking about the positions Brett Beatty could play this year, he said right field yesterday. He said could fill in at first base, could fill in at third base, could fill in right field. Could happen is all I'm saying. That Brett Beatty also fills some time in right field, as well as Tyrone Taylor, and I guess that's the. It seems as if they go into the season with Talkman as your right fielder, then Beatty's like your fifth outfielder at that point. So we'll see.
Yeah, and like to your point about like, do you want to set the precedent of hitting 360 isn't enough? Like, in fairness, it is a competition, and Benj is just unlucky enough that the guy he's competing with is slugging over 600 and has an 1100 OPS. If that continues, like I think Talkman has done everything and more for himself to win the job, and it's not like Benj is not going to make this team eventually. Whereas, Talkman, I think, is right now deserves it. And it might not be as exciting, but if it's a real competition and not one of these like fake quarterback competitions you get in football where you draft the guy and you say it's a competition and you just kind of hand it to him anyways, he doesn't really win it. Like, you've seen it with the Jets a million times with like Zach Wilson and Mark Sanchez and all these guys. Like, unless it's that kind of scenario, like Talkman is in the lead right now, in my opinion.
I mean, look, Tyrone Taylor's also had a better spring than Carson Benj has.
Yeah, and he's the fourth outfielder anyway. So.
I agree. I'm simply just saying, like, if it was clear cut, like when Pete won the job in 2019, the first base job, that was like we were midway through spring training, through the spring that year, just staring at these nukes that he's hitting to like the ocean in Port St. Lucie, and just like, this is not a minor league baseball player. Like, there's nothing left for him to conquer at AAA, and he made it unassailable for them. And it's the only knock, which isn't even a knock on Carson Benj, is that it's not unassailable, that you should be the opening day right fielder. I hope, we're sitting here in May and he's got a 1200 OPS in Syracuse, and we're just like, yeah, it's time. Like, it's time to bring the kid up. I mean, hopefully it's not like a necessity that the Mets are struggling and they need to call up the kid. But yeah, I would start him in AAA. I think we're headed toward him starting in AAA, and then Mike Tauchman's your opening day right fielder. Any thoughts before we move on?
I just heard the Mr. Softy truck for the first time.
Oh, there you go.
All year. I don't know if my mic picked that up, but March is very early for the Mr. Softy truck, by the way.
It's a weather thing though. Like earlier this week when it was in the 60s, and I think it hit 70 at one point here in Queens, where I am. So I'm right by the Throgs Neck, and there's this little park you can go to, like park your car and like go walking on trails. And yeah, a couple Mr. Softy trucks just parked there, knowing people are walking. Like, yeah, come get your first ice cream cone of the year. So
just makes me think of Curb Your Enthusiasm. Back to the Mets.
Back to the Mets. Anyways, back to the Mets, indeed.
Yes. I don't think he's blowing everybody away like you're saying Pete did, or even like, remember Ike Davis, where he was also like not really competing against anybody worthwhile anyways. Like if Benj made the team, I think it's fine, and if he doesn't make the team, I think it's also fine. Like, it's been that close of a competition, and I don't mind him getting like a little bit more seasoning in AAA, especially because he didn't perform particularly well there last year when he got the promotion.
Yep. Let's talk about retired numbers, shall we?
Let's do it.
So the Mets are going to retire Carlos Beltran's number. Although, actually, we have some comments in the chat. Maybe these relate to the current team and what's going on with the team. So maybe we'll go to that first. So Mr. Crockett, David Crockett, has a comment where he says, having not seen even 3 innings of spring training, is Luis Robert playing? If so, what are we thinking? He is back. He came back this week, played today, had a base hit in the Mets win over the Blue Jays, the rain-shortened win over the Blue Jays. I mean, I'm not using spring training to judge what I think of Luis Robert Jr. I'm just it's the theory of what he can be. Mr. Crockett, I'll let Rich answer too, but my thought with Luis Robert, it's like low ceiling. What is it? Low floor, high ceiling with him, because at worst he's Tyrone Taylor. Like, he's just a defensive stud and can help with say it with me now, run prevention that the Mets are focusing on this year. And the Mets could use a guy like that is like a step above Tyrone Taylor, right? And the best case scenario, the power comes back and he's like a 3 to 4 WAR player this year. And the Mets could use a guy like that playing every day in center field. So,
yeah, I mean, my opinion on Luis Robert hasn't changed at all. He's played in 3 games, and that's not because he's hurt. It's because the Mets have very intentionally had a plan to protect him from the injuries he's suffered from each of the last couple of seasons, a lot of like lower half soft tissue kind of stuff. So they're really slow playing it. Will that affect his performance when the season starts and he's only played in a handful of games? Like, yeah, maybe, but I think they just want him to be available. So I'm not really taking anything away from him. This is a very intentional thing that they're doing. So he's a big question mark, and like a huge, maybe the biggest X factor on the team, just because there is a volatile range of outcomes, like you said, and like he could be incredible, or he could just be like Tyrone Taylor with better defense, but he's hitting 190 for most of the season.
This next comment I'm just going to use to plug a future show. Someone says this team looks like this Mets team looks like an 85 win team, barely making it to the playoffs as the third wild card team, and then puts in order: Phillies 1, Atlanta 2, Mets 3. Next week we will be.
See what's going on with the Braves?
I actually haven't. I haven't dove into that yet. What's going on with the Braves?
A lot of pitching injuries. Jerks and Profar got suspended.
Well, that I saw the suspension
for the entire season. Yeah. Their biggest acquisition of the offseason was giving $20 million to a shortstop, Kim, who tore a ligament in his hand, I think slipping on ice or something in Korea, like something very Metsian. Atlanta was also really awful last year. So, like, yeah, they might regress to the mean in a positive way this year, but they've had a lot of things not going well for them. And their best pitcher is an injury-prone Chris Sale, who is closer to 40 than anything else.
Very fair. We will do the full Mets preview next week when we'll be officially a couple days away from the Mets season starting. And by then I will probably be more informed about what's going on in Atlanta, because I have done no preparation on how the rest of the league is doing. But we will do a full, maybe we'll take a trip to Claudio Casino and make some wagers there on some predictions for the upcoming Mets season. But all that being said, one thing we don't need to predict because it was already announced, the Mets will be retiring a number this year. They're retiring number 15. That date I don't think has been announced yet, Rich. If it has,
May, I'm not sure.
Oh, so they're gonna retire it that much so Rich will look it up if they've already announced the date or not yet. But they will retire number 15. Tyrone Taylor will be getting a brand new number this season. And Carlos Beltran will be enshrined in left field in the rafters at Citi Field forever. And he will also be enshrined in Cooperstown at some point this season as well, sometime in August. Is there a date officially announced?
I think they originally were going to have something in May, but they're going to change things around now that they've made this decision.
So is May when Mazzilli and Valentine are going into, because there's supposed to be all three of them.
I believe that's what it was.
So they're going to give Beltran his own day. Regardless, he's going to get his own day. I guess the first question I have for you, Rich, is just we've discussed this already, but now that it's official, your thoughts that it is going to happen now. Carlos Beltran will have his number retired by the New York Mets.
It makes sense. Like, he's the third player in franchise history to go into the Hall of Fame wearing their cap. Piazza and C are the only other two. And he's one of the best position players in team history. He's the best free agent contract that they've ever signed, at least as of now. Soto has a chance to surpass that eventually, but right now it's Beltran. Like, I think it's an easy one for me. I know there's people out there, I think like Evan Roberts doesn't really love it, and there's some other more like older school people who have been a little bit more against it, but I'm just like, you can't not retire the guy's number if he's going into the Hall of Fame wearing your hat, especially when you have so few of those guys in your history.
So much of the Cohen era since he bought the team is just changing the image, changing the expectation, and just the look of the team, and trying very much not to have like a "that's so Mets" reputation. Now, hasn't always gone that well, like 2022, still losing to the Atlanta Braves. And as a comment comes in, exactly what Rich said. Like, how is this even a debate? There's only 3 guys going into Cooperstown with a Mets hat on. It would just be a horrible look if the Mets let Cooperstown honor someone with their logo on their plaque and in their jersey, and then the Mets don't also honor this player for their contributions to the franchise. So yeah. I'm in agreement. I was always kind of pro Beltran. It was borderline. I will agree with the sentiment that it was, maybe not. But at a certain point, and this like Evan Roberts made an appearance on what podcast was it? Oh, the Knicks Film School podcast, the pregame show, when talking about the Nets matchup, and because the Nets suck, a Mets conversation broke out, and the host, I'll just drop the bit. I asked him like about the Beltran question. He was like, he said exactly what we both said. I don't know how you don't. The Hall of Fame's gonna honor the guy. You then sort of have to, even if you disagree with whether he's worthy or not as a fan. It's just a good look to like heal that relationship after you fired manager Carlos Beltran. All of that goes away, and it's just Hall of Famer with his number retired in your building. The end. We don't ever have to talk about how weird that situation was in 2020. Right? He's just one of the greatest players to wear your uniform and in the Hall of Fame wearing your cap. End of story.
Yeah. And is still employed by the team.
Indeed. So let's have some fun. We're going to project the next 5 players. Predict and project, I guess. The next 5 numbers to be retired, Rich. So you're going to go first. Who will the next 5 Mets? And to be clear, this is like as far out as you want to be. You can get creative with like AJ Ewing if you want. You can get creative and like guy that the Mets trade for or sign, and like you could predict the future if you'd like to of things that might happen over the next couple of years that lead to guys getting their numbers retired. So the floor is yours. Who will the next 5 Mets be to have their number retired?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll have some crossover. Like the first one I'm gonna name is probably the most obvious of them all. Obviously number 48, Pat Mish. Frank Francisco. No. Jacob deGrom. Of course, like one of the best, probably second best.
Francisco. My goodness. Yeah. All right, continue. deGrom.
Keep the chairs away. Throwback reference for anybody who knows Frank Francisco. But yeah, Jacob deGrom, you easily make the argument second best pitcher in the history of the franchise. Back-to-back Cy Young Awards, was having the greatest pitching season I have ever seen in 2021 before he got injured, and that was after already seeing one of the greatest pitching seasons I've ever seen. I think that was his 2018 season, where he had the sub-2 ERA. I think he had the lowest number of wins for a Cy Young winner at that point in time.
Less 10
had a losing record up until the end of September, wound up with a winning record by a single game. But that's how bad that 2018 Met team was. But Jacob deGrom was absolutely awesome. Like he is on this list that I have is the no doubt about it guy. For me, after that, I think your list is going to be more creative than mine is. But I do have some ones where I feel like, nothing crazy. I do think Pete Alonso is going to have his number retired at some point. He is the all-time home run leader. He was on this team for quite a while. Didn't have a ton of postseason success, but they did have the one run. And in that run, he has one of the most memorable home runs in the history of the franchise. Also is just like a fan favorite. The guy who owns the team now and for the long-term future was the owner while he was here and had an affinity for the player. So I think Pete Alonso's number 20 will have pretty good chance to get retired. Probably not for quite a while. He's got 5 more years left on his deal, obviously, that he just signed with Baltimore. Wouldn't be surprised if he hung on for a few years. So it could be like 10, 15 years before that happens at least. But I think Pete is going to get it eventually.
I agree. By the way, I'm glad Pete Alonso. I'm wondering if a similar sentiment with Beltran shows up with Pete at some point, but I'm in agreement. So we'll see.
Yeah, and I mean the difference, I guess, is Pete was beloved pretty much the whole time he was here, where Met fans were very split on Beltran the whole tenure he was here. There's a lot of people who just didn't like him. That strikeout obviously was haunting him for his whole career. I'll just say it. I think people were being kind of racist about him as well. Just his like style of play. He made things look easy because he was just that good, but people attributed that to to other things, a lack of care. But yeah, Pete like never had that kind of issue. Like most Met fans have always loved Pete, so I don't think it'll be a difficult sell. 10, 15 years in the future from now.
Now, to be clear, you're going in order, so you have DeGrom is next, then Pete.
I wouldn't say in order.
Order. Okay. All right.
Yeah, like DeGrom, I think was the most obvious.
So you're going in order of obvious, is what you're saying.
Sure.
Got it.
I think after that, honestly, this guy probably should have put over Pete. Number 22, Juan Soto, especially assuming that they don't let him leave after year 5. I guess that's the only thing that could change this. But they have the option to, just pay him more money and keep him for the remaining 10 years. And I think they'll probably do that if he opts out at all. He was one of the best players, like position players of this era. And we saw what he could do last year. I think he's going to be better this year. He seems extremely comfortable in spring training this year in a way that he never seemed last year. I think he's really getting his footing here now. I also think coming off the WBC will be good for him. Just like having that camaraderie, that fire, that competitive nature going into his season, I think can only maybe increase his drive to try to win. And we already know how committed he is to that anyways. So if he, stays here for the long haul, there's no reason to think he's not going to compile like crazy numbers. And my God, if he ever helped lead this team to a world championship, I think that would be, a no-brainer scenario. So I think Soto is, the next most obvious guy here.
Two more.
Another current player, Francisco Lindor. He might not be the official captain because Steve Cohen, we learned, doesn't believe in such things, but he is the de facto captain, been here for a long time, was the heart and soul of that 2024 team, is still very good. He's the best shortstop in team history. Yes, he's better than Jose Reyes. Also not nearly as problematic as him. And yeah, again, if he is a part of this team winning a title, which, big if, that's going to carry a ton of weight. And by the end of his tenure here, he will have been here for over a decade. So, I think he'll probably get that number up there as well. And then my last one is, I guess this is my most like going out on a limb. Number 26, Nolan McLean. I just have a feeling about this dude. Like I know he got beat up in the WBC, but it's basic like spring training. He threw a couple of innings, like whatever. I'm just glad he was not hurt. But this guy just like seems like he's got that kind of like Matt Harvey dog in him without the party antic side of it, which is really the big thing that was Harvey's downfall, in addition to obviously the thoracic outlet surgery, which a lot of guys don't come back from. So yeah, he's just like seems like that dude, like capital T, capital D. And I could very well see number 26 being hung up there way down the line.
So we have 3 matches on our lists, and partially because I tried to do chronologically, I tried to also predict the year that all these numbers will be retired, Rich MacLeod. So you're looking, when it comes to my list, it's 5 guys and the year it will happen in chronological order, which is why I have to first start by saying Juan Soto's not on my list because he is going to be the 6th number to be retired in chronological order. So what I tried to do, I started by looking at some of the long-term contracts in MLB history and really like what year did teams have to buy out or just kind of eat the end of it. So you look at Pujols, you look at A-Rod, you look at Miguel Cabrera, Zach Greinke, even CC Sabathia like limped to the finish line, Mark Teixeira, Joey Votto, like guys like that. Like you go to I know Mark Teixeira has a different connotation in 2026.
Like talk about problematic.
Yeah, aging poorly on contracts. Point is, like on most of these contracts, when you give out a long-term deal, the very end of it did not. Like I tried to figure out where their career would end, right? Where the prime would end, especially when it comes to guys like Lindor and Soto, because, well, if I'm projecting into the future, what will it mean if Soto's contract ends in 2039? What will it mean if Lindor's contract ends in let me double check the year with it. Lindor's contract right now ends in 2031, right? So I'll start here. The Mets are going to be celebrating a lot of things this year. They're putting Mazzilli and Bobby V in the Hall of Fame, in their team Hall of Fame. They're going to retire Beltran's number. They're also at some point this year going to celebrate 40 years since they won the 1986 World Series. And I believe at said ceremony, they will either do it this year or announce that they're doing it next year, that they're retiring number 8. That Gary Carter's number will get retired. Ooh. Finally, it'll be posthumously, unfortunately, but they'll have his family there. Maybe, I don't know. Maybe they'll work with the family and say, do you want to have it be a separate day, give a speech? But I do think number 8 will get retired in the same spirit as like randomly Willie Mays had his number retired by the Mets. And it was like, oh, I didn't expect that, but cool. Why not? Willie Mays will have his number retired. So that'll be the next number, either in 2026 or 27. Number 8 will be the first number that I say gets retired for Gary Carter, for the kid.
Interesting.
Next up, in 2035, I projected out that in the next 5 years, Pete Alonso will play 5 seasons in Baltimore, maybe play 3 to 4 more years as a DH somewhere else. We're looking at 2033, 2034 when his career ends. A year or two goes by. Hey, Pete, let's retire number 20. We need to welcome you back into the Mets fold. And Pete Alonso will get a day at Citi Field. I respect his power. I will always appreciate what he was. I don't think he will make the Hall of Fame. He will be in the Hall of a lot of home runs because that's what we consider sluggers now these days. 2035 will be when number 20 goes to the rafters, Rich. Then you made the case for it. I also projected out when Jacob deGrom's career will end. He's 37 years old right now. If he gives us 5 more years I think what I projected out was he's got to give us 5 more years and give us at least 11 to 13 more WAR. So he can be in like the Cole Hamels, CC Sabathia, Felix Hernandez range for pitchers in their total WAR. And then it'll allow him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer, which is why in 2036, the year after Pete got his number retired, Jacob deGrom will be of his number retired, which will also coincide with him being a first ballot Hall of Famer. So there you go. Jacob deGrom wearing a Mets cap into the Hall of Fame.
Be the fourth
Hall of Famer. Speaking of Francisco Lindor's career right now, if you want to say it ends in 2033, maybe 2035, I think the Mets could do it sooner. I think the Mets could do it the year he becomes a first ballot Hall of Famer. Look, he's got 6 more years on his contract. Jeez. He gives us 20 WAR over those 6 years. That's 75 career WAR of B WAR on for a shortstop. There's a chance he goes down as like one of the greatest shortstops ever for like a career. And don't let Yankee fans hear that, but also tell them every time you hear it, every time you see them. Francisco Lindor in 2038 will have his number retired. And then here's the wild card, Rich. 2041, the year before Juan Soto gets it retired in 2042. In 2041, number 29 will be retired, which will be Tariq Skubal's number after he signed with the Mets this offseason for a record-setting contract because Scott Boras is going to go to the highest bidder to get this deal. And, oh, boy, is that going to be the New York Mets. And since Skubal will have, during his 11-year contract with the Mets, since he will have won them 2 to 3 World Series, spearheading their rotation, they're not even going to wait until he is a Hall of Famer yet. They will like do it a year or two after he retires. And yeah, Tariq Skubal will have his number retired as with Jacob deGrom and Tom Seaver and Doc Gooden and some of the great pitchers throughout the franchise. This will be a 3-year celebration where they go Tariq Skubal in 2041, Juan Soto in 2042, and then to finish things off, Nolan McLean in 2043. There will be some controversy though, because people will be like, "Hey, you brought Skubal here and you retired his number, but why didn't you also bring in Freddie Peralta? You brought in Freddie Peralta, and he won those 3 World Series too as the co-ace with McLean and Skubal, but unfortunately he's going to have to settle for being the 3rd best pitcher on the greatest rotation and the dynasty that was the Mets in the late 2020s, early 2030s.
Wow, no pressure, huh?
No pressure.
He really went bold there. I think this might I'm the one who does the social clips. I think this might be one of the social clips this week.
You're welcome. I did have some honorable mentions. I thought about Jonah Tong, but unfortunately Jonah Tong's going to get traded for Mason Miller at this deadline. So he's not going to be able to have his number. Maybe he'll have his number retired in San Diego. And then I had to just say the name Brandon Nimmo. No chance. Nice Met. Falls in like the Edgardo Alfonso section in Mets history as like a nice player, contributed to the franchise, homegrown Met. No bad things to say about the baseball player Brandon Nimmo. Yeah, I think he has no chance of getting his number retired.
Let me ask you a hypothetical.
Please.
If Edwin Diaz re-signs with the Mets, would they have considered retiring a reliever's number?
Yes. Would be the greatest closer in team history. I think we were headed towards that.
Probably. You could still make the argument. He doesn't have the compilation numbers, obviously, that like John Franco has. Even Billy Wagner is a Hall of Famer now, not with the Mets, but still. Yeah, that one just like popped up in my head. Like he was here for what, 6-7 years? 6-7. If he signed that contract, he would have been here for close to a decade.
Yeah,
I don't know if they would have, but you could make the case. Obviously not going to happen now, but
is Billy Wagner's number retired anywhere? I don't think so.
I don't think so. I mean, he went to the Hall of Fame as what, an Astro?
I think so. Yeah, I'm just gonna ask something. Is Billy? There's Google. Here we go. Is Billy Wagner's number retired anywhere?
The Astros retired it last year.
So, again, similar vein. He made the Hall of Fame with your cap. Do you think Edwin Diaz is a Hall of Famer?
Ooh,
because that's the case. Is if he goes in wearing a Mets cap, then
he. I mean, it's tough for closers. You have to be really good to get in as a relief pitcher. I think he'll have a shot. And the thing is, like, he will have spent most of his career with the Mets. He was with Seattle for what, 3-4 years. He's with the Mets for 6 or 7, and he's going to be in LA for what? Was it 3 years?
Yeah.
Even if they bring him back, like, he'd have to sign multiple contracts to stay in LA to surpass the service time he had with the Mets. So, yeah, I mean, he'll have to really, like, he'll have to be a lot more consistent, I will say, because, like, with the Mets, like, he kind of would go from dominant year to more like okay kind of season. I think he would need to stack up some more of those dominant years in a row to really give him a chance, because I think on the Patreon pod we did in January, we talked about like making cases for relief pitchers and how hard it is to do that. Like, you really have to be up. Like, I was trying to make the case for K-Rod, who is, 400, 500 saves in his career, obviously tons of strikeouts, won a World Series. And, a lot of people don't think he is a Hall of Famer. He probably will never get in. So probably an uphill climb. But if he was to make it in, like I don't know how he wouldn't make it in with the Mets.
It's the only way that he gets his number retired. Then is that he makes the Hall of Fame in a Mets hat, and you have to. I'm sorry, it's just like the rule. It's an unwritten rule. You have to retire the jersey number for a guy that's wearing your cap in Cooperstown. It looks silly if you don't do that. I'm being corrected again in the chat that it's Tarek Skubal, not Tariq Skubal. I will get that right in the same way I started saying Luis Robert Jr., although it's going to be Lubob for the entire season. Yeah, but that's the case. I also think if you want to retire a closer, just retire number 22, Mason Miller. Oh, no, he can't wear number 22. That's Juan Soto's number. All right, well, 49's available.
John Neese.
Well, Armando Benitez. I don't know if I want a closer wearing number. What was Diaz when he was here?
39.
39. All right, well, 39's available. There you go.
I think it is.
Yeah, I don't think any. Let me double check. Is a Met wearing number 39 right now?
There's so many guys in camp. Like it's definitely possible. I don't know what any of the new guys are wearing.
So Devin Williams is number 38. Let's just wrap here, and thank you to everybody for tuning in live with us. Like, this is a 100% a me thing. This isn't good analysis I'm about to give.
Okay.
I don't want to root for Devin Williams. I hope he has a great season. I hope he has like a complete narrative changing season. I was fine with Devin Williams being the guy who gave up the home run to Pete Alonso. And now I'm going to have, it's just like a thing where I have to get over that. No, you're going to have to be the last out if the Mets ever win anything important. And that's kind of going to be the only way I get over this. Like, I'm just having a problem, a struggle right now, Rich, with like, I'm watching Devin Williams. He's wearing a Mets jersey. The airbender's airbending. Like, all of the stuff is happening, right? I want a new closer that doesn't conjure the thoughts of like one of the greatest moments in Mets history was the worst moment of your career. So maybe there's some rehabilitation there. Maybe you can do what Edwin Diaz did and just change the narrative around.
Well, that was going to be my counterpoint. Like your one of your favorite all-time Mets was a guy who single-handedly kept them from making the playoffs in 2019.
100%. Yes. But it also didn't like involve, like, you see what I'm saying? It'd be like if all of a sudden Pat Burrell became the Met left fielder and I had to root for Pat Burrell, right? This is quite literally
little different.
One of the, it is different. It's different. You're 100% right. It's different. Rich, I didn't say it was good analysis. I simply said every time I watch him pitch, I'm like, you gave up the home run to Pete, the home run that I've watched a million times. And now it's like, you're the last line of defense every time we need a game closed now. So it's why
funny because I feel like
Miller, I'm like, oh, I wouldn't mind if you're the ninth inning guy going forward.
It's funny just because I feel like between the two of us, I'm usually the emotional one.
You are, yes. And Rich, I'm not pretending this is rational. It is not rational whatsoever. I'm going to have a Claudio Casino line for blown saves next week and probably take the under. He's looked outstanding in spring training. Like I said, the airbender is airbending. Every time I see him, I'm like, ugh, like any other closer would have done. And I wouldn't have to rethink that moment anymore, you know?
We benefited from it. He's on our side now. Pete's gone. He's been an all-star caliber closer pretty much every year of his career, except for last year when he sucked on the Yankees. The odds are that he's going to bounce back. Obviously, our preference was still to sign him as the setup guy. And I think that was what they were trying to do. It didn't work out that way, and we'll see how that plays out. But I have no issue like rooting for, like, he didn't do anything negative to us. Like you brought up, like Pat Burrell is a heel, like a guy that we hated. Like I have no ill will at all. Like I love Devin Williams. Devin Williams served up one of the best moments of my sports watching life. And it would be a great redemption story where he comes back from that and comes back from what happened with him on the Yankees last year and is like a super solid closer for the Mets for 3 years.
Or we trade Jonah for Mason Miller and
Yes.
Devin Williams becomes a setup guy again, and I don't have to look. I'm doing my best is all I'm saying. I will update you guys throughout the season how I am. This is a safe space, right? How I am trying to get past this hurdle of like, all right, every time I'm rooting for you, because he's a Met. He's on my team now. I'm gonna root for him. I guess the phrase I shouldn't have said was I don't want to root for Devin Williams. I'm having a hard time when I see him on the mound, not thinking about one of my favorite moments in Mets history that kind of derailed his career for a year, it seemed. So we'll see. I'll update you guys next time he has a 1, 2, 3 ninth inning.
Maybe the same way that we had the off-season confidence meter, maybe there will be an in-season confidence meter for you. And
it's more of an approval rating at this point, Rich.
Yeah. Like, it can't be worse than Ryan Helsley.
Dog, would I rather root for Ryan Helsley or Devin Williams this season? I'm joking. 100% would rather give Devin Williams a clean slate than Ryan Helsley.
Ryan Helsley, once again, teammates with Pete Alonso.
Yes, there you go. Oh, I didn't even put that I'm sure I have put that together. I just didn't put it together right now. Anything else before we wrap up?
I think that's it for me. I'm looking forward to the game tonight. I appreciate everybody who joined live. If you're listening to this later, we appreciate you guys as well. And I'll throw it to you to do the housekeeping at the end of the episode.
There we go. And here's some off the air, on the air production. Don't clip the Devin Williams thing I just said. I don't need that going out there live. I clipped the thing about Macri calling the Knicks unlikable, and it's the only thing people talk to him about anymore. So I'm rooting for you to change the narrative with me, Devin Williams. That's what it is. It's a one person issue, and it's me, and I'm gonna get over it. I hope we're having the Devin Williams should have his number retired conversation, Rich, in like 3 or 4 years. But we'll see how this first season goes with him. Thank you, everybody, for tuning into another edition of the Just Mets podcast. If you dug it, please head over to this video, like it on YouTube. Remember to subscribe to our channel. We're going to get back into the swing of things starting next week because the Mets return next week. We will have our full previews next week when the Mets season, like I said, will be a couple days away. If you're listening, please like this. Please leave a 5-star rating and a review on Apple or on Spotify. Follow Just Mets on all socials: TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, Blue Sky, whatever new one that gets created between now and tomorrow. Subscribe to the Just Mets Substack. New content for free every single day. The newsletter is hyperlinked in your description of this episode. Rich and I will be back next week. Until next time, thank you for listening. Thank you for watching. Let's go Mets. And in the words of the immortal Gary Cohen, we are out of here.